welcome back to another episode of The Truth Will Do. Today I wanted to talk about spit up in babies, and I've really debated about doing this one for a very long time. It's going to be a little bit longer, but I want to give some information to everybody. If you have a child who had reflux or who has reflux, or you know a mom who's dealing with a child who has reflux, this would be a really good video to send them. And definitely I want some feedback. There's a huge conversation that needs to go on with this, but ultimately, you guys, I see a lot of kids in the office with reflux. And so this is a journal article that just came out in Pediatrics, and this was in July of 2018. You may have seen it floating around. I wanted to talk a little bit about it simply because I think we just need to talk about it. Let's just put it that way. So, kind of back in the summary recommendations, I'm just going to go over this super quickly, but it talks about how pathologic GER, so think of that as reflux, it's gastroesophageal reflux, occurs when reflux of acidic gastric contents causes injury to the lower esophageal mucosa. Although preterm infants do have some acidic reflux episodes, most reflux episodes in this population are only weakly acidic because of their lower gastric acidity and frequent milk feedings, making such esophageal injury unlikely to occur. So they did this study with all preterm infants. So just note that. But it can really be applied to any kid. So it also goes on to say that preterm infants with clinically diagnosed reflux are often treated with pharmacologic agents. However, a lack of evidence of efficacy together with emerging evidence of significant harm, particularly with gastric acidic blockade, strongly suggests that these agents should be used sparingly, if at all, in preterm infants. So, talking about using some of these antacid, these medications that we give our kids. And so I don't know if you guys have ever read this book, but it's How to Raise a Healthy Child in Spite of Your Doctor. And it's written by a pediatrician. It's something that I read long ago, and it really changed the way that I thought about health, especially in kids. And so if you have younger kids, this would be a really, really good resource to have on hand. And to read even before you have kids, so if you don't have them yet. But anyways, he goes on, he talks about tummy aches and things like that, and he does say in here that if he really has pain produced by excess stomach acid, which is unlikely in children, sodium bicarbonate, that's what they did then. It's an antacid. It would be one that they gave for quick relief. It may relieve it temporarily, but because it neutralizes all of the acid in the stomach, it will cause a rebound effect. The child's stomach will work overtime, replacing the acid, probably with more acid than was there before. The only sensible immediate relief you can offer is a generous dose of love, comfort, sympathy, and distraction. If the symptom is emotional in origin, that may end the pain. And he does go on to explain some other things, but I wanted to talk about that because I think that that's really important. We see it all the time in our office when moms and dads are trying to wean them off of these different medications. We often will see a rebound effect. So here's the thing that I wanted to mention going through after all of that, just to give you guys some information. It's not to be like you're wrong if you're doing it, giving them, say, the Zantac and things like that. It's simply to provide some information that maybe you didn't get elsewhere. But if kids are spinning up, so there can be lots of different reasons. But first off, sometimes moms have a really fast letdown. And so if I can just give you guys a little bit of my history, our first one spit up all the time. But it never caused him any pain. And I had a very fast letdown. And he would sit there and like guzzle. And all of a sudden it was this whoosh, right? He was getting it way too fast. And there really wasn't anything I could do or really that he could do. We just worked it out between the two of us. The other thing is maybe they ate too much. That can be too, you know, they're nursing and they love the comfort and things like that, or even with the bottle, and they just think that they're still hungry and they haven't really gotten to the point where they realize or recognize that they're full, and so realize that their stomachs are really small and everything like that. And if they eat too much, I would much rather them spit it up than sit there and make the child uncomfortable. Okay? Now, if it is painful, one of the signs that we see all the time in the office is that they do a lot of arching. So they'll constantly be arching, and not just a stretch, but it's like this painful arching, and you can tell that they are uncomfortable. And so if that is the case, you guys, and they're doing a ton of arching, they basically are trying to adjust themselves. There is so much tension, neurological tension going on. And in that dura, we need to have them checked. This is why chiropractors, so often when kids have reflux, they'll say, take them to a chiropractor. That's what we're really looking for. We want to soften that neurology. They should not be rigid, and they shouldn't be arching all the time. That is a clear sign that they need to get checked. But the whole point of this video, you guys, is to give you some information really about sometimes there's these side effects. And although it may provide some temporary relief, what are the side effects down the road or when you're trying to wean them off that we're gonna see? And is it absolutely necessary, or is there something else that we can do to try before we go down that road? So like I said, I know it's not gonna be a super popular topic for a lot of people. It's not meant to make you guys mad. It's simply to give you some information and some resources so that if you do decide to go on there, you know you've tried everything else, and you also know what you're getting into if you do decide to go on some of those antacids. So that is all we have today for The Truth Will Do. Hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye.